Welcome to Dr. Mary Travelebest's special episode on California beaches, part 3. This is for women who travel, who want to travel, and especially for those who want to travel independently. In this episode, the FAQ is how much of my trip should be planned? The destination is California beaches, part 3, Orange County. The lesson learned is don't break your auto's axle. And the tip is to take the auto train to Florida. So here's the FAQ. How much of my trip should be planned? That was your question. So here's my answer. How much of your trip should be planned depends on how much certainty you require. So it depends. If you want to know where you're going to be every night of your journey, you can hire somebody to book you, or you can book yourself for the entire trip through. Or if you love a little bit of uncertainty or flexibility in your plan, you should plan for the unknown and leave open time. I tend to favor certainty when I'm with other people, but when I'm solo, I feel a lot more flexible. You may just book the first night in a country where you don't know the language. That short window of getting settled could be a good plan for the rest of your trip. So, today's episode, let's talk about California beaches in Orange County. In parts 1 and 2, we started off in Coronado, California, and visited all the beaches all the way through Camp Pendleton. Here in part 3, we're going to keep going north through Orange County beaches from San Clemente to Seal Beach and in between. They're mostly all quote unquote free to visit, but check hours and parking before you travel. I'll tell you my favorite places to visit, and you can share your favorites in the Dr. Mary Travelebest social media channels. Be aware of shark sightings and watch for stingrays at your feet, and enjoy the whales as they breach above the surface. We'll start in San Clemente, where there are at least 10 beaches in this part of OC. There's a train station on the beach. That's right, it's just steps to the sand or to the shopping areas. San Clemente has a regular routed street trolley, and it's free of charge for all visitors and locals, but closed during COVID. It's a good way to get to the beach and not worry about parking. Check out the pier for fresh seafood and clam chowder. I also want to recommend Calafia Beach Park. It's a city-operated park in California's state park land. There's not a lot to do. It's mostly for locals. And Riviera Beach is a little bit north from San Clemente. Then we get to Dana Point. It's got lots of beach areas. Here are a few of my favorites, and you can listen to Dr. Travelebest episode number 48 to learn more about Dana Point. So there's Capistrano Beach. It's fondly called Capo Beach by the locals. It's not much but a parking lot and some sand, so don't get too excited. But then we have Doheny State Park and Beach just north. You'll find that the only time you can walk along this shore is at low tide because there's homes along this beach. You want to stay off the dry sand right next to the homes. Dana Point Harbor, it's the new home of whale watching. You can bike here easily as the land is flat. So take a look at the map and you'll see how that land juts out there to a point, which is why it's a good spot for seeing whales easily. Then there's Monarch Beach. It's just a little bit north of Dana Point. It's got a nice viewpoint. It's a private beach and spa owned by the Waldorf Astoria Company. The Monarch Beach Golf Course is publicly owned, so you can make a reservation for 18 holes here, even if you're not a member. You'll also find a Chart House restaurant. Laguna Beach offers great views, the annual Sawdust Festival, and superb shopping. There's ocean swimming from 6 a to 10 p, but do check in advance. And then there's Aliso Beach, located in Laguna Beach, where I went for my honeymoon back in 1994. Crystal Cove, a California state park you won't want to miss. It closes nightly at dusk. I walked the length of the beach in February solo and had a delightful time. It's not busy or crowded at all. The Wedge is known as a surfing beach with some pretty big waves. And then we go north to Corona del Mar State Beach, the crown of the sea. The locals call it CDM. It's a neighborhood in Newport Beach and a good swimming spot. It's located at the foot of San Joaquin Hills on the east side of the jetty at the entrance to Newport Harbor. It's a half a mile long of sandy beach framed by rocky cliffs and a jetty. So when you get to Newport Beach, you'll see two piers, the Newport Pier and the Balboa Beach Pier. So Newport Beach is about 8 miles long in total. It's known for the parade of lights at Christmas time and Balboa Island. You'll see lots of boats in the harbor, too many for me to count. Some are beautiful boats. I've spent many hours enjoying the surf and the sand here. Next comes Huntington Beach. This is known as Surf City. And there's several surfing songs like those from Jan and Dean and the Beach Boys. Surf and Safari is one I like. Its name, Huntington Beach, comes from the founder of the area, Henry Huntington, who was a railroad magnate. The waves here are good to surf. Surroundings are beautiful and among the widest, cleanest, and safest beaches in the region. So Bolsa Chica State Park is within Huntington Beach. It's a 3-mile stretch of beach, and it's a state park where you can surf and surf fish, especially near the channel, as long as you have a fishing license. There is a beach campground too. And lastly, we'll talk about Seal Beach, where you can go kite surfing or beach surfing, and you can also just build sandcastles. Those are some favorite activities. It's in the northwestern part of Orange County. You can walk the pier and you'll see lots of fishermen there. And you can see a lot of seals. They have them on emblems, and there are seals all over town. So stay tuned for a future episode, part 4. We'll go into Long Beach, all the way to Santa Monica, and others in Los Angeles and beyond. So today's lesson learned is don't break your axle. I didn't even know what an axle was, but I was driving the company car in Chicago and visiting a client. After my appointment, I got in the car, but was unable to drive as the axle was broken. No one had done any maintenance on the car, and the axle just split. The car wouldn't go. So I had to call a cab, come back to the office, and explain that the car was not able to move and needed a tow. I don't remember ever driving that car again. So now here's some travel advice. Are you driving to Florida? Well, here's another way. You could take the auto train. My friends are telling me about the auto train. It sounds like a great way to travel from New York to Florida, even during COVID. You ride in a sleeper car or roomette, and your vehicle is on the train with you. There's room for up to 330 cars, so there's plenty of space, and this could save yourself the trouble of driving. The train only makes 2 stops between Virginia and Orlando. Today, I want to bring meaning to your travel, so send me your travel tip. You can send it to my website, Facebook page, group, or Instagram. And you can also ask a question on Twitter, the blog, or maybe you'll see your tips in my next travel book on independent destinations. What's on your travel bucket list?